It's bounce back time for the St. Louis Blues, who are getting set for Game 2 versus the Vancouver Canucks. It's just 1 hour away, and I'm Ashley Weiss welcoming you into Game Day Live, brought to you by Bud Light Seltzer. I'm here at Rogers Place, but for some extra positivity and wisdom, I'm bringing in my co-host, Joey Vitale. Joey, we don't have to sugarcoat things. Game 1 did not go the Blues' way. And I know that we don't want to live in the past too much because this isn't the exact same team and it's a very different situation. But is there solace to be found in the fact that most of the guys on this Blues team have been in this situation before and they've come out on the right side of things?
Yeah, you know, Ashley, sugarcoating anything in hockey is not good. The only thing I typically sugarcoat are donuts and beignets. Those are those New Orleans, you know that, Ashley, you're from Dallas. But the sugarcoating hockey, no, not here, not for this group. Have they been in this position before? Absolutely, they've been in this position before. I can think of the last 2 rounds. You go back to the Western Conference Final, San Jose, and the Stanley Cup Final, and the Boston Bruins. Both games, they actually got out-battled, out-hustled, and outworked more in those games than I think we saw in the first Vancouver game a couple nights ago. I'm a big history buff. I think history can repeat itself. I love the fact that this is a solid veteran group that's been through these hurdles of being down in a series early on, and I'm expecting a great response here tonight.
Well, not to compare this too much to that series versus the Sharks, but something that we did see in that series is how the physicality of the Blues pays off long term. That Game 1 versus the Sharks wasn't great, but the Blues were physical right off the hop. And then by Game 6, the Sharks were quite literally falling apart. Well, last game against the Canucks, the Blues were also very physical. So do you think there might be that same effect here as far as how they can wear down the Canucks?
Without question. I mean, this is something that doesn't really take an effect, I think, Ashley, till Game 3, 4, 5 as the series progresses. I think of a player, for example, Quinn Hughes. He's not overly big. He's a young kid. He's a rookie. He's a phenomenal skater, and he's one of the best players here for the Vancouver Canucks. He was terrific in Game 1, but also he got hit a lot in Game 1. I'm thinking particularly about the second period. David Perron, he gives him a cross check. He gives him a face wash. He gives him a pop on the laces, and you actually see Quinn Hughes go back to the bench kind of hunched over like that. Is it going to affect him in Game 1? Probably not, but I guarantee you he woke up yesterday hurting. He's going to be hurting a little bit more today, and he'll be hurting even more on Game 3 if the Blues can stay consistent, because you're absolutely right. It's a perfect example of last year in the San Jose series, how fast and how quick they were in Game 1. And, of course, we all saw what happened in Game 6 right there. So the physical, aggressive investment is such a MO for this team, and it needs to continue here tonight in Game 2.
Well, you mentioned David Perron. Of course, he scores goals, which is great for the Blues, but he can also be quite the pest, which makes a big difference in a series like this.
Well, he is. I mean, we talked to him a little bit earlier yesterday, Ash, and I didn't want to call him a rat, but, you know, David Perron is known around the league from a lot of these players as kind of ratty, if that's a word, ratatouille. I know that's maybe a word. I think it's a soup or a dish or a casserole or something. But I think David Perron is a lot like that. He's kind of like got that Antoine Roussel in him, that Brad Marchand, and we love him because he's on our team. But I promise you, the day that David Perron leaves the St. Louis Blues, or when he was not a part of this organization, every one of those Blues did not like playing David Perron. And to me, that's one of the best players out there. You want players like that. You want them when they're on your team, and you hate them when they're not on your team. David Perron can score. He's playing very fast right now, but he's playing aggressive. He's an agitator. You know, he doesn't necessarily love that role, but he feels like it's playoff time and it's a man's game, and he's going to step up to the plate because he knows his team needs emotion. Love the way 57's been playing lately.
As do I. And as you mentioned, we caught up with him yesterday. So, David, it was an incredible regular season for you. You made your first NHL All-Star appearance, but then your groove kind of got interrupted whenever you had to take a break from hockey for about 4 months. But what I want to know is what you were doing during that quarantine while the rest of us were binge-watching Netflix and stuffing our faces, because you've come right back, and between the round-robin games and last night, you already have 3 goals. So, obviously, you were doing something right to stay sharp.
It must be the maple syrup I made during the quarantine. It's the first time I was home for spring season when in Quebec. That's when the maple syrup we get it done with the maple sap from the trees, and it's the first time I ever do it myself. It was pretty cool. But to get back to the hockey part, I was pretty banged up, to be honest with you. At the end of the season, I had several injuries that were tough to play with every day. A little bit with me still, but was able to kind of nurse it quite a bit, where I'm feeling pretty good every game now, and just trying to bring a spark to the club, bring some energy, and obviously we want to get that first win out of the way, so that I think from that point we can look forward.
David, you kind of lost me there. I didn't even listen to one hockey thing you just said because you mentioned that you made maple syrup. How did this start, and what is that process like?
The process is you dig a hole in the maple tree basically, and you just put something in there and a tub underneath that holds the maple sap, and from that point you boil it to a certain temperature and it turns into syrup. Basically, that's all it is. But it's quite the process, to be honest with you. You can't, and it's a certain degree. I don't remember exactly the degree, but if you miss it one way or the other, it's either too liquid or it turns into a little bit too thick. So it's something that's a huge tradition from where I'm from. And I happen to have I have 6.5 acres back home to where I live, and there's a lot of maple trees. So I figured it'd be a fun hobby to do when we couldn't go anywhere. I was fortunate enough to have the property to kind of enjoy that part, and that's why I did it.
Man, the maple syrup, my daughter actually makes this maple syrup candied bacon. I don't know if you've ever had anything like that before. It's absolutely insane. But when you're doing this, the last thing I got for you, David, before I turn over to Ash, when you're making this, do you gotta kind of keep your head on a swivel? I would imagine there's like bears that are probably trying to sniff around and take what you're developing there, right?
I was actually playing Fortnite with the guys a lot while doing that, because the process of boiling takes forever, like legit, sometimes a whole day. So you get the water overnight, the maple, well, it's water, but sap, I guess, overnight. Your tub is full. You boil it, and it takes basically the whole day to get to the right temperature. You don't want to do it too fast. So while I was doing that at the start, couldn't go anywhere, obviously back home or anywhere in the world pretty much. And I'd just hop on with other guys on the team and play some video games, play around with the kids, whatever I had, and had fun doing it.
I don't know if you remember this, but I think it was a couple seasons ago, the Cardinals had the Matt Carpenter salsa. It was kind of their rally thing. Is there any chance we could get some David Perron syrup and some schmooks nearby?
I mean, that'd be a cool idea. Maybe it's something to think about in a few years when I'm done. We'll see. I don't mind that at all, Ash. I'll think about that. Maybe we can get a brand going. Joey V's pretty smart in that. Maybe you're going to help me out.
Yeah, Joey will be your PR guy for that.
Perfect.
On a do bread and syrup. I like that.
We got to find a mix there. We got to find the right mix. There's something there, I think, Joey.
We'll have to make a segment out of that next time. Joey can bake the bread and David can bring the syrup, and we'll just have a whole spread going. Do you make pancakes, Joey?
You know, I actually make sourdough pancakes, and I don't know if David's ever done that, but you use sourdough starter. It gives a lot of great life and airiness to the pancakes, but gosh, I'm so hungry now. I got to get some good maple syrup from David Perron. This is too good.
Okay, well, I'll let you go have a snack in a moment, but first, just one more serious question for David. I know it seemed like Chief wasn't really too concerned about going into Game 2. He said most of the adjustments you guys needed to make were pretty easy fixes, but what do you have to say about the team's mindset heading into this one?
Yeah, I think we're happy with the ozone play we had. We had a lot of shot attempts compared to the other games where we didn't have too many shots on net. This time we outshot the other team. We spent more time in the ozone with the puck. There's many things we can look forward to. Obviously, stay out of the penalty box. That's our mindset going into the next game. Much of the same 5-on-5, but making sure we win the special team battles. And I think that's where I focus my attention. Not on Joey V's son.
Special guest.
You have any questions?
Do you have a question, bud?
Want to ask him something? You can ask my ear. What do you want to ask him?
He asked, what's your favorite nut? Do you like nuts?
Almond. Love almond butter, actually. It's my favorite thing.
We like peanut butter, don't we? Jiffy.
We like almond butter and maple. I think that we could get something going there.
Skippy. You like Skippy. Sorry, David.
Skippy.
That's good, too.
So David Perron clearly confident in what this team can do here in the rest of the series. And that resiliency is something that Jim Thomas touches on in today's Post-Dispatch storyline.
Hello, everyone. Jim Thomas coming at you once again from the fine city of Edmonton, Alberta. Wednesday against Vancouver, the Blues played what easily was their best game here in the bubble. They possessed the puck. They were physical. They outshot the Canucks in every period and had some quality scoring chances. But a couple of third-period mistakes and a goal that Jordan Binnington normally stops resulted in a 5-2 setback in Game 1. That's the way hockey works sometimes. Now, both the Blues and Binnington in particular have displayed mental toughness in the past and a strong bounce-back ability after an off night. So now more than ever, they need that resiliency to shine through in a critical Game 2 against the Vancouver Canucks. That's tonight's Post-Dispatch storyline. Enjoy the game.
Thanks, Jim. And for more on today's Post-Dispatch storyline, visit stltoday.com/blues. And Joey, it's pretty common for us to see what these series are like for the players, but what we don't see much is what these games are like for the refs. But luckily for us, the NHL mic'd up John McIsaac in Game 1.
I don't want to blow this again in everybody's ear. Hey, I don't want to blow it in everyone's ears. I think both parties, playoffs though. Right, we're going to give someone a push. Right, folks? Right, just give a push. We're all right. Let's go. Come on, let's go here. Couldn't do that, you're right. Don't worry about it, okay? Yeah, don't worry about us. You guys know that. Oh, yeah, you guys are awesome. A lot of big bodies, eh? A lot of big bodies, eh? Set. Playoffs, dude. Just don't give me the that's all, okay? Because I like you. We're respectful. I like him. He plays the right way. Here we go, sit. Hey, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. You don't both want to go. Here we go. Come on. Let's go. Nice spinner, eh?
Joey, as we wrap things up here, my question to you is how important is it for the Blues to get back on track here in Game 2 as far as the rest of the series is concerned?
Well, I think it's extremely important, but the good news for the Blues is they know kind of what that looks like now. I think it was their best game since being in the bubble was Game 1. And I know the score 5-2, it looks bad, but keep in mind, we're in a third period. It's a tied game. It's a very close game, and the Blues came very close multiple times to taking the lead in that game. The margin for error in playoffs is very small, as we've all seen for countless amount of years. But the good news for the Blues is they got the confidence from Game 1. How do they carry that over into Game 2? There's a thing called momentum between games, game-to-game momentum. How can they grab what they did in Game 1, and can they convert it to energy there in Game 2? A big line to keep an eye on tonight, too, Ashley, this top line. You don't see a team go far in the playoffs without the best players being their best. A big night for Braden Shen, Jaden Schwartz, and Vladimir Tarasenko.
All right, thanks, Joey. And before we wrap things up, want to give a special shout out to the Blues fans out in South City who are part of our Game Day rally today. Game Day rally will be coming near you, so keep an eye out on stlouisblues.com. Also want to thank our season ticket holders who will be joining us tonight via Zoom. Be sure to root them in because it's a big one for the Blues here in Game 2. And in fact, that puck drop is less than an hour away. So thanks for joining us for Game Day Live, brought to you by Bud Light Seltzer.